Welcome back to the most professional StarCraft 2, where I'm always excited to introduce the #1 ranked Terran player, the Frenchman from Team Liquid in the red. It is Clem. But on the other side, another Terran who makes underdog stories seem like an understatement. The IEM 2023 Katowice World Champion. It's Oliveira. A best of 3 TVT that I think will define and redefine our understanding of this most esteemed matchup. Mirror matchups, always a technical experience. But first, before we start, I think we gotta look in the mirror and see if the like button with a thumbs up is reflected back at you. And Jimmy, it wasn't my worst. It was close. 1,255 likes on this video, on this cast, on this mirror matchup experience. And I'll cast another one. Though I won't guarantee it's a mirror matchup. It's like having a second dessert. Sometimes it's good. Sometimes you regret it. We'll see which one it is at the end of this. But hopefully you've had a good day so far, and hopefully it's about to get just a little bit better. TVT has taken a sharp turn since the Cyclone once again got a makeover from being a kind of an expensive sniper unit out of the tech lab to a much cheaper unit with less HP, less range, but similar functionality that can be built out of a naked factory or a stock factory, depending on who you ask, or with a reactor. It has a bonus damage. It has bonus damage against mechanical, which conveniently includes most early game Terran units, including SCVs and Cyclones themselves. So far, both players being very... The reason I think we see both players being so incredibly careful is if you get caught, they still lock on and attack while moving. So if you get into a battle of 2 Cyclones against 1, there's really no microing your way out of that one. So neither player really willing to risk either or any of their early game units in a potential failed attack across the map, but instead are tucked into their base and scared of going outside. So, Terran players, indeed. Third command center on the way for both sides. Ravens in production. No interference matrix for either side. No ability to be able to lock down those I take it back. Clem opting for it first. They've both got the tanks tucked in. The Cold War will eventually go hot, but it looks like we'll start out with the build-up phase indeed. Neither player really willing to risk any sort of early aggression here. It is just so dangerous. Like, early game TVT is decided by positioning and unit composition. Later game TVT could be a war of attrition, but like any mirror matchup, having a solid... in any mirror matchup, PvP or ZVZ, having a tech advantage is decisive. Unlike those matchups, though PvP might qualify, one unit can be a tech advantage. There is rarely one unit in Zerg versus Zerg that's going to define the matchup. Protoss versus Protoss is still dicey, but a single Raven can be the decisive difference between victory and defeat in a single fight. Being able to disable 2 tanks, anti-armor missile, even a few auto turrets can completely swing a fight. Which leaves me in the awkward position of continuing to commentate a production tab because we're 6 minutes in and they're only glancing at each other through their orbital scans. Okay, that's how scary it is. Yeah. The only units lost are like a canceled refinery so far. That's the resources there. So... it is going to be Marine Tank versus Marine Tank. They're both headed down that direction. Has Clem with the counter... oh, this is Bronze League heroes. These are the highest level Bronze League heroes. We only scout with scan. We never go out unless we have a full army. Finally, Clem is willing to risk the initial 2 Reapers and a Cyclone. Thank you for bearing with me this far. The action will begin. Trust me, bro, at some point, Still no units lost, but here come the Ravens. Gonna drop some auto turrets. And might lose it. First blood. Loses 2 SCVs. And now some auto turrets in the main will delay the production. And kill a few more SCVs. Is there anything that can chase down? No, Clem, don't attack your own engineering bay. Okay, even repairs it. So that's what was happening there. If you can lull your opponent into attacking their own infrastructure, you know, that's probably a better option than having to do it yourself. So far so good for Oliveira. No Vikings, right? No Vikings. The Raven. Only Ravens for Clem. And now adding on 2 medevacs. Oliveira picking up and sending him out. Really adding to the feeling that this is Bronze League Heroes. Because moving out with your main army is far too scary. Only flying, only medevacs, and maybe the only reason we know this is a top-level game, besides the names, of course, is that they made Ravens instead of battle cruisers. For now. That could change. But the double drop is headed out. Definitely an odd location. He has the Reaper out in front. Gonna try to draw the tank fire. Does so successfully. Clem scans his own base at like point blank. Which may be coming up a little short on that scan. But yep, Oliveira tried. That drop didn't end up working out. He does have a 12 supply lead. Oliveira focused on his production, I think, here before Clem. And Clem instead invested more into the Ravens. He finishes up anti-armor. I'm sorry. Armor. Just regular armor. Regular marine armor and combat shield. Which I guess kind of falls into that category, but I digress. Meanwhile, the tanks, scans on either side. And sieging up. Anti-armor missile. Will Oliveira try to take advantage of it? A huge drop towards the main. He could potentially scramble the medevacs. But instead, auto turrets are dropped down. The Raven's gonna be gunned down. He manages to scramble the tank. And now more Ravens coming in. And the tank itself will be the last to die. Picks up, gonna drop back on the tanks of Clem. And where are Clem's units? The SCVs are pulled off the line. There's actually not enough Marines left to do enough damage to the tanks to take them out. If Oliveira had been able to pull that off just a few seconds earlier with maybe twice as many Marines, it's likely he could. And now we're just gonna go back to the main. All right, dropping the base more times than a Skrillex album here, as Oliveira, and Clem just sends it as well. There's not nearly enough units in the main base here to deal with this. Marines are trickling in. The tanks are having target practice. The starport itself is taken out. That's kind of an important building. The Marines might be enough here for Clem, who's also attacking the other side simultaneously. He's got his massive drop going for the third of Oliveira, and there's absolutely nothing to defend. He guts the mineral line, and the worker count is obliterated. 24 SCVs down. Clem, 70 to 42. Oliveira gonna be dropping on top of the tanks. We explode. The chest part is over. Now we're just boxing. And boxing and A-moving across the map. Oliveira sending everything he has across, not even bothering to defend. A single siege tank will do a lot of damage to the Marines and might give Oliveira the ability to eventually defend against these drops. He has most of his army at the front. The army supplies are dead even. Clem gets +2 weapons finished first. Both sides of the medevac to give a little more vision forward. Clem ambitiously sent his command center out, but it's going to be gunned out of the sky by the Marines. All right. On the other side, Clem maintaining his supply lead now. 29 SCVs down. Both players knocked back to 2 base. The Stone Age isn't too far off at this rate. 2-2's done for Oliveira. Clem didn't actually have, it looks like, 2 engineering base. So Oliveira will have an upgrade advantage on his Marines, and he has a comparable Marine count. 45 to 48 right now in favor of Clem. Third orbital command is in the main. Clem gonna try to break out. Siege tanks, good concave for Clem. Doesn't target the tanks, but he's forced to retreat past them. Another concave. Wait, who's flanking who? But the medevacs help the Marines stand their ground, and with the upgrades, they're gonna be enough to drive Clem back. Both players plummeting under 100 supply here. Devastating losses across the board. Mutually assured destruction. But so far, no decisive victor in these engagements. Oliveira, realizing his advantage is in the upgrades and the medevac count, he's able to hold the line. Oliveira, I think no, he's lifting his main command center right now. Clem lost a lot of SCVs, but still maintains a slight lead, and having that third orbital is a pretty big deal. Clem scans the other side, sees the orbital landing, now trying to take a base of his own, but that armor upgrade is a huge deal here in these Marine versus Marine and the tank fights. He's going to pull back. Oliveira with a beautiful spread. And now, well, the two tanks on the high ground are enough. There's no mech weapons upgrades, but he's going to be able to deny Clem landing this base here. A single siege tank shot could decide these fights. Will he just go for the drop in the main again? The tank is far enough forward to actually hit the mineral line. There are even some marauders mixed in for Oliveira. Not sure how intentional that was. Ooh, but here comes Clem looking to take out the tank. And he goes for the fight, heads up, but Oliveira has more medevacs and better upgrades. I don't know about this one. Trying to drag him into the tank fire. Clem loads up. And now, what's the tank count? It is 6-2. Oliveira starts +3 infantry weapons just a few seconds before Clem, who added on that second engineering bay. Really demonstrating the power of upgrade. It's a fake! A fake medevac drop towards the main. I'm not sure what he means to accomplish with this. He does drag some of Clem's units out of position. But the medevacs! Oh no, Oliveira distracted! Oh, getting way too fancy there. An absolute own goal. He tried to fake him out, but now he comes in and takes out the tanks. And he manages to pull a small victory out of a significant defeat. Oliveira drives away the drop on the other side. Might be able to get the orbital command. The repair at the last moment will patch up that command center, but the tank shots are devastating. Clem maintains a 10 supply lead, but a Liberator is on the field. Oh, the Marines going to be able to target down another tank. That Liberator won't be able to turn the tide without tanks to support. Wait, the drop was not taken out. It was actually just driven away. He still has the Marines targeting the Liberator. Stutter stepping forward. Clem's Marines are a counter to everything. And right now, Oliveira has yet to account for them. Marines dropping out. But the reinforcements are enough, and Clem is finally forced away. Another drop is loaded up. The game... It was 7 minutes of absolutely nothing into the next 7 minutes of mutually assured devastation as neither player is willing to sit back and relax. And it's impossible to tell from their perspectives. You can have a good idea, but I doubt either of them could tell you they were winning decisively. And obviously they're not, but... If you sit back, you let your opponent take the initiative, and initiative seems to be everything so far. You don't want to be reacting when you could force your opponent into a bad position. And Oliveira's tried to exploit this with the notable mistake of losing all those medevacs. But 2 siege tanks against 1, and that one is taken out. The main base, Clem lifted his main. I don't know if that's the one at the 3rd or the one... Well, there's one to the north side. And one at the 3rd. It's unclear which is which, but doesn't really matter. The Liberators will siege up and actually take out the siege tanks. He's not target firing the tanks. Both sides dropping out with the Marines. And again, Oliveira misses the opportunity to take out the siege tanks at the 3rd. And that could have reverberating consequences as time goes on. Oh, so close to eliminating the critical mass of siege tanks from Clem multiple times so far. But he gets the medevac on the way out. But he really needed to get those tanks, because the tanks are the only thing that has been keeping Oliveira at bay with his superior Marine count and the initiative that the medevacs give him. But now, Clem is stabilizing. He has 6 tanks to 2, a comparable Marine count. He's struggled to keep his medevacs alive, partially because he's sending out individual drops, but... and now Clem, I believe he has 3 orbitals to just 2. An absolutely devastating game. Oh my. But it looks like we're in another phase. Another lull in the action. As both players have finally reconstituted their defenses. They've shored up what's left of their economies. Both of them very uncomfortable with the idea of bleeding out more units. And instead, there's enough tanks on the field to save them with the medevac. There's enough tanks on the field, they're spoiling for another fight. Scans on both sides. Remember how few orbitals there are. Those scans are at a premium right now. Oliveira gonna wander forward with one medevac, and that's actually a lot of extra vision to hit the Marines. But Clem just kind of picks one off. Clem managed to finish +1 mech weapons as well. There's no defense for the mineral line here. There's not enough Marines. The upgrades are even. But Clem is gunning down those Marines with the help of the medevacs. More SCVs. Oliveira needs something now. The tank itself doesn't even get a second shot, picks up the rest of the Marines, heads out. Oliveira with the 17th doom drop of the game, I'm estimating. There's nothing here to defend. The Marines have to come up the ramp, but they scramble back down when the tanks siege up. In Clem's production, well, it looks like the 17th time is the charm at the 17-minute mark. As this time, Clem is unable to respond. He's not doing any counter damage. The production is being gutted. Half of it is lifted. The other half is destroyed. But here comes Clem with a drop from the back, drawing fire from the siege tanks as he stims forward. And the tanks are taken out. A medevac on the way out as well. There's nothing at the third, but the counter drop. The SCVs, he's on top of it. Oliveira with another attack towards the fourth base. It's just an orbital. It was an orbital. There's an orbital no more. And Oliveira with the violence of action here and just the sheer amount of aggression, he's able to keep it together. The Marines, a siege tank, he's going for the orbital, picks up and gets out. Oliveira still has the army supply. It's the SCVs that are making up the difference, but another base. There's no medevacs. These Marines cannot be healed, and now they're cornered. He has to scan and try to figure out whether he can take a fight. And now we see if medevacs are good enough to make the difference. Oliveira isn't stimming. He stims. And I think this is a weird fight for both players, but Clem, clearly, if he can draw the numbers close to even, the medevacs will win the day. And he finishes +3 armor. The orbital is, or not orbital, the command center is burning. But I think Clem going to be able to patch it up in time. And now Oliveira, he tried to rely on that constant aggression. How many, he's taken out a starport, a factory, a couple barracks. There's been, oh my god, 220 versus 230 Marines slaughtered. His main base is threadbare right now. Oh no, the planetary's not done. And of course he's going for a planetary. Clem doesn't have his tanks in position. The command center is taken out. The medevacs come up to defend, but Oliveira has enough Marines. He's gonna be able to take out several of the medevacs of Clem. No! The prioritization is really hurting here. Killing a few more Marines is good, but getting those medevacs and the tanks earlier, it's adding up. Clem picks everything up, but he's gonna fly over Oliveira's Marines! Down goes a medevac immediately! The tanks! Oh no! Why were they even there? He's gonna fall back. Tank siege is up. More tanks on the ramp. Oliveira's gonna pick up on top of this. No, he's walking in! No, it's a disaster! Well, wait. No, it is a disaster indeed. Clem has +2 mech weapons. The army gets cleaned up, but Oliveira, terrestrially bound. If Oliveira had picked up onto those, again, just not quite what he needed. And Clem maintains the initiative. Of course, there's no planetary here. Oliveira has not been building SCVs for quite a while. Oh my. The tanks on both sides. Clem trying to close this out. Despite how little mining there's been, everything's starting to mine out. There's long distance mining happening at Clem's base. I assume that's what it is on the minimap. Clem now denying Oliveira from this location. Oliveira gonna pick up and send it out. He's only got 4 mineral patches. Clem, wow. Playing a nomad game over here. There's only 3 tanks. Oliveira committed everything into those drops. Clem pulls back, kind of anticipating the potential flank, and he's right, but not exactly. as his units are completely out of position to deal with this. And the command center, the orbital, will be gunned down alongside most of Clem's SCVs. He sends it back to the other side. He didn't think he'd drop again, but one more time. Clem gonna try to drop all over the tanks, and there's only 3 Marines. That's not enough. And Clem now sieging up on top of the SCVs, and still, the economies. Clem has less SCVs than he started with. Oliveira gonna be joining him momentarily. Another orbital dead. And what are even the incomes? There is income, technically. 3-3 for both sides, +2 mech weapons for Oliveira. We have to look at the unit count now. 11 SCVs. Clem has 7 medevacs to Oliveira's 7, 3 tanks to none, 41 SCVs, or 41 Marines to 37. Clem has all the advantages, but it's impossible to know that. Oliveira has remained incredibly unpredictable, which has been his greatest advantage so far. Clem's inability to realize what he's actually up against. But the tanks make all the difference. Oliveira picks up, and he heads for the main. But 1 medevac and GG! Clem takes down the medevac, and with it, collects 2 Gs in one of the most hectic games. Almost dead even resources lost, but Oliveira not quite on top of the prioritization. There were some opportunities missed that are, from this perspective, the observer perspective, are quite clear, but are anything but in the thick of it there. But Clem holds on. It was so close. I think essentially any other Terran, maybe Maru, is able to deal with those repeated drops, the aggression, Oliveira's kind of off-tempo timings. And still, right up until the end. TVT. Wow. Well, not sure how we're going to follow that one up. But we do play more than best of ones, and for good reason. Game 2. SCV scout on both sides. No proxy racks. I do think it comes down to just the missed opportunities. Oliveira, strategically, I think outplayed Clem. But he didn't capitalize on the opportunities that were essentially presented to him. There were 2 or 3 times that the siege tanks were exposed, especially at the 3rd base, where he just wasn't able to put together enough to take him out. And then Clem, every moment he had Marines on the other side of the map, he was maximizing his damage. So he was able to do a little more with a little less. But he just... Oliveira's just like, alright, send it, bro. Heads towards the main with every medevac filled. My god. Wait, why is this SCV here? Suspicious. Both sides very suspicious. Oh, he's gonna do the SCV bullying. The sacrifice out in front to try to absorb at least 1 Reaper hit. And here it is. Oh, and he eats the shot. But, oh wait, the SCV, he might actually... Wow, the SCV going for the other one, trying to at least draw some blood. But Clem uncharacteristically failing at the Reaper micro. It is ambitious to fight 1 Reaper with 1 Reaper when they're on defense, but he actually misses a volley there. And that means Oliveira has the initiative now. That's all it takes. My god. I went from complaining about how boring the early game of TVT was to watching them pummel each other into oblivion for 15 minutes straight. So I guess I can't complain that much. Should have just started the game at 6 minutes, Winter. It's like, well, I've considered it in the past, but... And for those wondering, a little bit of meta conversation before Oliveira gets across the map. The reason we usually start the games more than 0 seconds in is because more than anything else that has been proven to keep the attention of those on the YouTubes. And you might be like, I want to see every moment. I want to watch them worker split in mineral micro. Well, my friend, let's be honest, you were probably going to watch anyways. But as we slide closer and closer to the TikTok demographic, we have to cut some corners, like the first minute or two of the game, which, you know, Legacy of the Void already helped with that, with the 12 worker start. But here come the Cyclones! Okay, well, I'm not actually sure how this goes. That's a, yep. So you can actually repair in the medevac with SCVs. Does Clem know that? If you put him on auto repair, and another Cyclone here. Always a fancy move. He's not doing it. Disappointed. So, I think if Oliveira got that third Cyclone, it's a decisive victory. But without it, not turtling the tanks this time around. Well, now both sides are sending out the clone drops. We got a double clone drop from Clem, a couple Marines and a clone out of Oliveira. Clem gonna be the first losing some workers, but Oliveira may end up losing more. Oh wait, there's something in the main too. It's Reapers. Well, certainly starting things off earlier here. 12 to 8 workers killed. The Cyclones kill each other. 2 Marines, countered by 1 somehow. Drops in, tries to lock on, going for the Raven, draws out the auto turret, micros away. Technically could out-micro the siege tank, but that's a dicey endeavor. Yeah, trying to lock on there. So. Oh, the Marines hunted down. Clem's army is 5 Cyclones and a medevac. And also there's technically a Marine and a couple Ravens. Oliveira down 7 workers. He hasn't started. He just now started rebuilding his 3rd command center. Clem only started building a 3rd command center after the early aggression. Oh, here we go. There are 2 tanks, which seems like one too many to contend with. He does have interference matrix, but there's not enough energy to scramble both tanks now, so. Couple NG bays for Clem. As 2 tanks were just... I think he can be happy with the damage he did. He knows he killed more SCVs than Oliveira managed to. And now falls back to having a slightly better economy. Going to get his barracks loaded up and his infrastructure built. This is the toughest part of Terran in general, and TVT specifically, is finding the timing to add on your secondary production. Not your first barracks factory starport, but barracks 2 and 3, the engineering base, 3rd command center. Because the difference between the best and the absolute top tier Terrans is that extra few workers, is that extra timing, not queuing up more than you need. There's a lot of little details there that truly matter and add up quickly. And now the scan will spot everything. This is... yeah, that's an army. That looks like an army going Marine tank, doesn't it? As the Ravens and Cyclones make their way across the map. Looking like an alternate universe box art here. Both sides do have interference matrix as well. So that's going to make things even more confusing. He could scramble the tanks. He wants to... oh my god. Will they, won't they? Picks up towards the main. Clem spots the Viking. Should be able to get away with the medevac. One about to complete. Yeah, Clem not risking it. Gets his 3rd. Building up more energy. Both sides building up energy on the Ravens. Usually favors the aggressor, as they're the one picking a fight. Both sides with 3 Ravens as well. Clem pulls back. And Oliveira gonna be moving up. Oh, here we go. Center of the map. Neither player are gonna stumble into each other here. Medevac scouts forward. 1-1 about to finish across the board. Clem's already got it done. Oliveira, about 8 seconds out, scrambles 1 tank. Anti-armor on the rest. Anti-armor across the board, but here come the Cyclones. Another tank sieges up. And that's gonna be a decisive victory for Clem. Knocks out everything. Oliveira thought he could find an opportunity, but Clem reacted. Had that slight upgrade advantage as well. There's still a tank siege. The Ravens just outright died. Well, that siege tank took a while to die, but no combat shield for Clem doesn't seem to matter, as he's just tearing through absolutely everything. What? Well, compared to that last game, certainly not as a dramatic conclusion, but a decisive one, as that brings us into our anti-spoiler bonus game. I'm gonna spoil it, though. This is Clem doing the dirtiest Reaper build I've ever seen. Well, maybe not ever seen, but a dirty Reaper build against Shin, aka Ragnarok. Which, a game so short, relatively short, that wasn't gonna make it into its own series, but one I wanted to show off, which is what I try to do with these anti-spoiler games. But how about that first match? What in the heck? Yeah, we're gonna go with the 3 racks, but this time we're gonna build that 3rd racks out of the map, flipping the script on those early proxies. But what was I saying? Yeah, clearly Clem. I think Clem was actually had the worst army in position for like 90% of the game on Hecate. But Oliveira was only making... He was only taking advantage of 90% of his opportunities, which sounds high, but Clem never missed one. So that was the difference at the end of the day. Even though Oliveira kept creating space for himself, Clem still kept wriggling away from it. The slippery... Okay, well, there's a lot of words we could put here. I'll let you fill in the blanks. But speaking of slippery, Reapers. Even on the creep, seem almost impossible to catch with those Zerglings. There is speed on the way. And he's hidden that 3rd Rex, though Shin will know, based on the lack of a command center. The Overlord just hanging out there. The Reapers, despite their jetpacks, cannot hit air. Brenda bounced out of the way. Karen on her way down the ramp. This is a formal message from the HOA, the Hatchery Owners Association, asking you to cease and desist your activity, as this is considered bad. Brenda! Reapers able to kill a queen, loses 1, but those queens building up over time splits the difference. No creep spread here. Going to be mass Zergling. Very optimistic creep tumor, essentially wasting that energy. And now another queen hunted down, another one way too far up on the creep. Gotta be bounced away. Zergling speed done in 1 second, but... And... Well, the Zerglings are gonna try to chase down the Reapers, but the Reapers, oh my, managed to hit like 90% of those lings. And Shin making, I can empathize. When you watch Cyril or even Dark defend against those Reaper all-ins, it looks relatively simple. But then Clem starts throwing the grenades at anybody else, and, well, simplicity goes out the window. A Roach Warren as the most obvious, but also predictable. It can be strong, but I'm certain that Clem, he set up his base specifically to prepare for this sort of attack. On the bright side for Shin, and I think part of the reason he's inspired to do this timing, The add-ons are on the outside. This is the side of the map where, because Terrans never learned, much like Protoss never learned doors or repair, Terrans never learned to put their add-ons on the other side of the buildings. Which they would argue is a bigger issue than Protoss not being able to repair a wall, but they'll never miss an opportunity to argue. So, 11 roaches on the way. Enough gas for plenty of Ravagers as well. Clem being very deliberate in how he sets up his base here. That starport could have been anywhere, and he chose to put it directly at the front. Something to funnel. And sends out with the Hellions, but a roach! A bit of a giveaway there. Cyclones in production now. The roaches are spotted. A Ravager cocoon gives a lot away, but Clem playing some offensive defense. Gonna put himself out on the map. Now a second bunker. He's actually producing off of 3 racks now. And even has a 3rd command center, so it's not like he's been particularly focused. Oh, the Zergling's going for the surround. The Reaper somehow slipped through. Most of them will escape. The Hellions are taken out, but the Cyclones are here. Stim denied. As Clem. Well, he's got the Cyclones on the backline. The double bunker. Though he hasn't pulled any SCVs, he's building another bunker. Corrosive Bile gun through. That's a lot of Ravagers. Without Stim, definitely going to be hard to close the distance here. Another wave. He tried to have enough to repair, but there's enough Ravagers to just take out bunkers in a single hit. Clem getting overwhelmed here. The rat just kills the starport outright. Maybe Clem has bitten off more than he can chew. As the Ravager is trying to close the distance, the Zergling's on top of everything. 11 SCVs down thus far. A bunch of Marines dead. And it appears that overconfidence may be a slow and insidious killer. Clem, GG. Jimmy, I thought he won this one. Well, so, a bit of an odd conclusion here, but I do think there was another one with the Reaper All-In. But in case you were wondering how to deal with the Reaper All-In, just when he's doing something crazy, go fucking kill him. All right? And this time around, Clem getting a bunch of Ravager Biles directly to the face. Shin just batters his way through. So, he is mortal. Concluded there. But still. A dramatic and decisive victory against Oliveira. Shin giving him a bit of a backhand after that Reaper, but hopefully it made your day just a little bit better. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure, if you got the means of motivation, check out Patreon, YouTube membership. But I hear liking and subscribing is still free for now. Make sure to check out the second channel for VODs and other games you may eventually want to play. Stormgate, Zero Space, stuff like that. And just more content in general if you're into it. And check out Recommended. And I think that's the whole spiel. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Good luck. Have fun. Stay chill.